Okay, this video is going to take us through the final exam uh, review of a partial review of loops from chapter 4. So we're just going to go over a couple things here. This is what we did in class. So it asks how many times is high printed, and this is something you'll want to be able to do. And so in this, what we did was just make sure that we understood how this works. So count is 1, and then at the while statement and the Boolean expression, this is tested. The loop control variable is tested. Is 1 less than 3? Since that's true, it jumps into the loop, and it prints high, so it prints it once, and then it goes on to the next line, and count is updated. This means to add 1 to count, and so this becomes 2. And then the end of the loop, we go back to while, and is now count is 2, so is 2 less than 3? Yes, it is. So it goes back into the loop, prints high again, and then the next line it updates the count to become 3. And so at the end of the loop, it goes back to while again, and so the question is now is 3 less than 3, which is false. So because this is false, then it kicks out of the loop, goes to below the loop to see if there's anything there to do. And so that's how that works. So it prints it twice. Okay, so this is a review here of the for loop. And so the for loop, you have count is declared, and so it starts at 0. And so is 0 less than or equal to 4? And since that's true, it goes into the loop and prints high. And so the important thing to realize is that the third part is not done, is not executed until the end of the loop. So the loop is now done, and so it goes back to 4, but it goes back to the back end of it. So count is updated, and so count now becomes 1. So then it goes, is 1 less than or equal to 4, which it is, jumps into the loop, and it prints high, and then it goes back into the loop, go back to 4, and the back end, and the count variable gets updated again, the loop control variable. So now it's going, is 2 less than or equal to 4, and so it's true, so it goes back to the loop. So this is how it's going to be going all the time until the test right here is false, and then it stops the loop. Now another thing that we want to do in this is we want to show a method for counting the number of times a loop will iterate or be executed. And so there's 3 lines of code that you look at to tell. So you look at where the loop control variable is initialized, where it is tested, and where it's updated. You use those 3 parts of the code, whether it be a while loop or a for loop, and then you can tell that way. So what happens is you go, actually write down the first amount of count going to the loop, and that is when count is 0. And then you see, okay, it's going to add 1 each time to the loop, and the highest it can go is where you look in here. It's going to go as high as 4. So it's going to go when it's 0, and it's going up by 1, so it's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the values of count that will cause the loop to be executed or iterated. And so now all you have to do is count those. 0, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's why we know it goes 5 times. Now another method that some people might do is they might just count with their fingers. So they start with 0, and using their fingers to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they look at their fingers, go, oh, I got 5 fingers up. And so that is another way I suppose you could do this. And so let's go to the next one here. So now you should pause the video and see if you can tell how many times this is going to be printed by just looking at the three pieces of code. And so what should happen then is you would see, okay, first of all, it starts at 0. I can't see where this is. Okay, so it starts at 0 and it's adding 2 each time. So it's going to go 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and then it's going to stop because 16 is going to be too high. And then all you have to do is count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you would see it goes through 8 times, or it iterates 8 times. Uh-oh, what do I have a 2 there for? I think I forgot to change that. So anyways, that should be 8. And so try it on here again. And first of all, before you go through this, I gotta fix this. It should just say count minus minus. And so do the same thing with this one. So it starts at 16, and then it's going to subtract 1 each time through the loop. So it's going to be 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and then 10 makes it false, so this is it. So now all you have to do is count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it goes through 6 times. Alright, try this one. Now this is a trick. So you might look at it hard before you try to answer this. And so what would happen here is you would notice with your keen eye that there's a semicolon at the end. Oh, oops, I'm looking at the wrong one. This is not the tricky ones yet. So this one is starting at 8. P starts at 8, and then it's adding 2 each time through the loop. So it's going to go 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20 will work because it says less than or equal to 20. So you count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know this loop is executed 7 times. Okay, so now this one is where your trick is. Oh, come on. Okay, and this is where we see we have a semicolon here. And so high is never printed because with a semicolon, it says 1 is less than 7. A semicolon, this is the end of a program statement, so it's going to end the loop and go back to while. And is 1 less than 7? Well, that's true, and this is the end of a program statement, so it goes back to while. It's just going to keep doing this over and over again, not doing anything except for just iterating. And it's printing nothing. It goes on forever. So, of course, it never comes out of it, so it never ever gets a chance to print high or get updated. Okay, the next one, how many times is high printed? Okay, so try this again. So you look at it, and you'll see that count is never updated. So count is 1. 1 is less than 10, so it prints high, and then it goes back here without changing count. So it's always going to say is 1 less than 10. So it just keeps on going and going and going. So it's an infinite loop when the loop control variable is not updated. And then the last one is, if you trace the code, you'll find that is 1 greater than 6 is false. So immediately it's false, kicks out of the loop, never to see the loop again. So high is never printed. That's it.